You know, man, I really don't understand. I don't understand how you have all this money, more money than anybody knows what to do with in this lifetime and the next 20 lifetimes. And you don't understand how you are the very reason why you and your company are failing. That's what I don't understand. I also don't understand that when everybody, including people like me, on a week-to-week basis who genuinely care and love the product, I don't understand why you don't listen to the criticisms of those people. I don't. I really don't get it. And all you go and do is you continue to hide those problems, ignore those problems, mask those problems by creating more problems. And by the time you really look at what's wrong, you got a mountain of problems looking at you, and you have nobody to blame but yourself. But the thing is, in this case, Tony Khan is not going to blame himself for any of the downfall that is AEW right now in 2025. I miss the days of old, bro. I really do. Things were simpler. TV was more streamlined and straightforward. It didn't treat you like an idiot. You enjoyed what you were getting. It was easy to combat Vince McMahon when he was blatantly putting on terrible television. I mean, that would light a fire under anybody's ass to create better television to beat Vince McMahon. You would think that would be the same way now with Tony Khan battling his son-in-law. You would think that you would want to beat Triple H even more than you did Vince McMahon, because that same cutthroat attitude is going to be there. It hasn't even lessened. WWE nowadays is even more cutthroat than they were with Vince McMahon. Tony Khan created the NWA National Championship for one of his own championships on AEW television. He has now created the AEW National Championship, basically ignoring the lineage and the prestige of the current existing NWA National Championship, one that is still very much in existence on NWA television, held by current champion Mike Mondo, who had some choice words for Tony Khan. And he is getting himself into a lot of hot water with the wrong people. For someone who's a pro wrestling historian, for someone who's a pro wrestling enthusiast, for someone who is a fan of pro wrestling, why would Tony Khan create a championship, pretend like the current national championship doesn't exist, and bring that national championship to his television while ignoring all of the prestige and lineage of the real national championship? Why would he do something like that? I got the answers for you today, ladies and gentlemen, and this may be the straw that broke the camel's back on how people look at Tony Khan, what type of businessman Tony Khan is, and why anybody doing business with Tony Khan is actively making a bad business decision. I got all the latest and that today on Off the Script. It is your Friday, November 7th. I don't believe it's already heading toward the holiday season, November 7th, 2025. Tony Khan created the national championship. It was announced on Wednesday's Dynamite. The premise of this championship is that this championship will be defended on AEW television. It will be defended on CMLL. It will be defended on Ring of Honor television, and it will be defended in New Japan Pro Wrestling. The title will be contested over, and a new champion, an inaugural champion, will be crowned at Full Gear as Tony Khan holds one of his gimmick casino battle royale matches at Full Gear. The two participants, or three participants in this case, that are already confirmed for this match, in my opinion, one of these guys will be the winner. Shelton Benjamin, Bobby Lashley of the Hurt Syndicate, and Ricochet. I'll get into that in a little bit. So we will crown a new national champion at Full Gear. Let me take you back and start off by telling you why this does not make any sense. First of all, we don't need any more championships on AEW television. A fucking idiot can understand and digest that the more you introduce something like a championship, the more championships that you introduce to television, it lessens the value and the prestige of all the other championships, because at that point, you're making championships to give out championships to people to make them feel important, and the current champions and their value are going to be lessened. They are going to be diminished. So the TNT champion is not as prestigious as it once used to be. The international champion, the continental champion, the unified champion in Okada, TNT champions Kyle Fletcher, Okada's championship don't mean anything. It doesn't. The trio championships don't mean anything. The tag team championships don't mean anything. The more you introduce new championships, the value of your current champions and championships is diminished. I don't understand why nobody in that company seems to grasp such a simple concept. The national championship is basically, by definition, the first ever AEW Atlantic Championship. If you guys don't remember. See, this is when I was watching the show, when everybody calls me a grifter, but I've been watching AEW television for 6 years, or the Atlantic Championship or the All-Atlantic Championship. That was the name of the championship before they changed it to the International Championship. The premise of that belt was for that belt to go all over the world. Ring of Honor, AEW, Indies, New Japan, CMLL, or any company that was in a loose partnership with AEW. That championship would be defended to bring brand recognition to AEW and brand recognition to wherever that title was being defended, at whichever promotion it was going to be defended at. That was a great idea. It was a great idea. Clearly, AEW, when they have a great idea, they usually drop the ball on said great idea, and that really went nowhere. They changed the name from the All-Atlantic Championship to the International Championship, and that remained for a little bit until Tony got bored of it, and he didn't use the International Championship the way that it was intended to be used as the Atlantic Championship. And then he took the International Championship and decided to create a Continental Championship. So at that point, we were on the cusp of having a little bit too many titles. The Continental Championship was really bringing the company to the very edge of, all right, man, I think we got enough belts. We don't need any more championships. So we went from the Atlantic Championship to the International Championship to the Continental Championship. The Continental Championship would be contested every single year in a tournament, a round-robin tournament, from November to December, which the finals will culminate at World's End, which for a good portion of their television throughout the year, it is a very exciting time for AEW. I love a good tournament. Then we get the Continental Championship on Eddie Kingston. Then he loses it to Okada. And we haven't seen a champion in the Continental Champion outside of Okada since he's won it. And the only reason why AEW put the championship on Okada was that Kenny Omega and Okada was always the plan at some point on Tony Khan's list of things to do. And that match took place at All In much later than they wanted because Kenny Omega was out for several months with diverticulitis. The only reason why they had that championship around Okada was to make that match feel a little bit more important, give a little bit more meaning to that match when it took place on July 12th at All In. Tony Khan then unified that championship with the International Championship. Kenny Omega was the International Champion walking into All In. Okada was the defending Continental Champion. They unified the championship in Texas at All In and created the AEW Unified Championship. Now, Okada was walking around with all three belts. He was walking around with the new Unified Championship. He was still walking around with the Continental title, and he was walking around with the International Championship, which he won from Kenny Omega, which was supposed to be fused with the Continental title to make one singular championship. Their lineages still continue, according to Tony Khan, the International and Continental lineages, which, I mean, there's only two people that ever held the Continental Championship. The International Championship, maybe what, 3, 4, 5 at most? They and their lineages still continue with the Unified Championship, which is fucking ridiculous. It doesn't make any sense. Unification means you're getting rid of those. You got one new title because the premise is, well, maybe we got too many titles and we should kind of consolidate the titles that we have and kind of lessen the amount of titles that are on television. So we have a Unified Championship. We thought he was doing a good thing there by merging the titles and getting rid of those titles because they don't really mean anything. An international champion, a continental champion, it all ends up being the same thing. Then he creates the AEW Women's Tag Team Championships, which are right now being contested over in a tournament, which more than likely will find the finals to take place at Full Gear. At the same time this tournament is taking place, he created an AEW National Championship. And everybody's like, bro, what are you doing? Why do we need more championships? You already have way too many championships. You already have women's tag team championships that you just unveiled a month ago with the tournament starting last week. Now you're going to crown another champion, another new champion at Full Gear, almost taking away from the women's tag team title tournament and crowning new women's tag team champions. So we created the national championship with the idea that it will be defended on Ring of Honor, AEW, CMLL, and all other territories around the world that have a partnership with AEW and New Japan Pro Wrestling. But this was the idea of the All-Atlantic Championship that you got rid of, that you changed the name of that to the International Championship. That was supposed to be what the International Championship was going to do. That was all about the International Championship, taking it to all these different promotions and all these different brands and all these different indies and having it be defended there. Then you got rid of it to merge it with the Continental title to create a unified title. Now we got this unified title, which theoretically should be doing what the International and All-Atlantic titles were doing. They're not, because it's not somebody that can't lose. And now you're making an AEW National Championship to do what the International and All-Atlantic titles did years ago when you created them. So you brought an idea to the table, took the idea off the table, unified it with the Continental title, created the Unified Championship, and now you're going back and making yet another championship that you already had in the All-Atlantic and International titles. And by the way, also, the fact that you're making this title to basically create the same title that Kenny Omega had to take that belt into the match with Okada, you have now rendered Okada and Omega at All In completely useless because you deleted whatever was going on there to create the unified title, and now you're going back and creating a title that Kenny Omega lost to Okada to unify in that match with Okada. You're creating that belt all over again under a different name. Folks, I don't know how you are not. I don't know how you are not frustrated with the level of stupidity in this company. I don't know why you are watching still AEW television. And at this point, I hope everybody stops watching AEW television so that they get the point even more so. I can't even strictly blame Tony Khan for this. I can't. I just can't blame Tony Khan only for this. Yes, he's the one who wanted it. Yes, he's the one who paid and funded for it. Yes, he said he wanted it. And his little beekeepers, his little workers, they made it happen. But that's where also the blame should be focused. Sanjay Dutt, Christopher Daniels, fucking Will Washington over there, little Willie boy, every one of his stooges, Mike Manzaree, Jennifer Pepperman, all 5 of these individuals, I want you to remember these names: Sanjay Dutt, Christopher Daniels, Jennifer Pepperman, Mike Mansory, Will Washington. I want you to remember these names. Every single one of these people, when AEW ceases to exist, when AEW is in the fucking dirt, and we're all laughing at their fucking misfortune and their death because they followed the same path that WCW took when WWE fucking killed them. I want you to remember these names. They will be just as responsible for the death of AEW than Tony Khan is. Do you want to know why? Because none of them said no. None of them combated Tony Khan and said, hey, boss, I don't think this is a good idea. I don't think we should do this for a number of reasons. I think we should move in a different direction. None of these people have actively told Tony no. They haven't told Tony no because they're afraid of losing out on that sweet paycheck. They're taking this man for every dollar that he throws at them, and none of them seemingly give a shit about AEW at all. They'll tell you publicly that they care about AEW, but if they did, they would actively tell Tony no, because if they did, it would actually help the company in the long run. Instead, they tell him yes, and they are actively contributing to killing AEW. I don't know what else I need to tell you. So when you think of a decision made like this, yes, Tony Khan makes the final decision. But how many people were on the opposite end whispering in Tony's ear, hey, boss, man, that's a great idea. Hey, Tony, that's a great idea. I think this is a fantastic idea, Tony. You're the savior of pro wrestling, Tony. They are all actively contributing to the death of AEW. That is 100% factual information. It's the same thing that Bruce Pritchard, John Laurinaitis, Michael Hayes, and everybody else that was in Vince McMahon's inner circle, they never told him no. The only reason why they never told him no is that they were afraid to tell Vince McMahon no, because who the fuck knows what Vince McMahon would do? In this case, they're afraid to tell Tony no because they don't want that funneling of money to be cut off. Because how would they live? Where would they go? They've already dug their own graves. This is a complete disaster. Why did Tony Khan create the national championship? Well, clearly, NWA is pissed. Performers in NWA are pissed. The current national champion, Mike Mondo, is pissed. I'll leave you this tweet on screen right now. He says, and I quote, "Let me be clear, there is only one NWA, and there is only one prestigious national championship that holds legit lineage and has for decades." Mondo made it clear his views on the title, and the only one that exists is the one that he holds. So Tony Khan or anyone else confused? Here's the legit title with the company it belongs to and the legit national champion. My name is Mike Mondo. At least one NWA wrestler claimed on social media that the introduction of the new title by AEW is a retaliation over Shockwave. What's Shockwave? Apparently AEW is suing or trying to take back the trademark that they thought they had with the trademark of Shockwave. NWA has used that name, Shockwave, for some of its wrestling events as early as 2020. AEW tried to trademark that name last year, possibly for a new television program, which has not launched. Remember when Swerve Strickland was a little too giddy, hanging out with his rapper buddies, and he was interviewed by somebody? I don't remember who the interview was. Maybe I'll pull it up. If I'm not lazy, I'll find the clip and I'll put it right here in this video.
What are you, manager? What are you? I'm creative director. The song is me. Really? When you come out, that's me. That's fire, man. Yeah, I want to take my information down so we can figure it out, man. Give me the phone. I sit down. I know, bro. All right, bless, bro. Bless. But yeah, man, it's a movie. Yeah, we're about to move. We're about to get on Fox. We're moving crazy because SmackDown's leaving Fox, and then we're taking Fox. You know, Fox and Warner Brothers. It's getting nasty outside. I'm telling you. TBS, and Fox got all three of them things. And getting nasty.
He said, "Yeah, we're about to land a TV deal with Fox, Shockwave." Everybody thought Shockwave was going to be the new AEW show that is going to land on Fox or a Fox affiliate like FS1 or something like that. Well, clearly those discussions are fucking deader than dead. I don't know why anybody would want to be in business with AEW. Their ratings are plummeting. The live gates are fucking terrible. The 18 to 49 demo is fucking god-awful. They lost 60% of their 18 to 49 demo. Collision's on the verge of being fucking canceled with the ratings that they're pulling in every fucking week. It's nothing more than a fucking embarrassment. If you need any more detail on how AEW is floundering, they are going to the Greensboro Coliseum on Wednesday for Blood and Guts in North Carolina. This is the same venue that Sting retired in at Revolution last year. 18,000 people were there to watch Sting retire, which was fantastic. They barely got 4,000 tickets out the door in a venue that seats 23,000 people. Oh, but they need to make room for the double ring and the double cage, JD. Blood and Guts was also held in previous years in Newark, New Jersey at the Prudential Center, and they did upwards towards 10, 11, 12,000 people. So if Blood and Guts was still such a tremendous thing that was so must-see every single year, why is AEW struggling to sell tickets to one of their marquee shows, which should be a flagship event every year in a town that bleeds pro wrestling? 4,000 tickets out the door for all of these men and women competing in these Blood and Guts matches. Man, that must really feel great to go into a fucking building that holds 23,000 with 4,000 watching. You're risking life and career in a match that nobody is going to watch and nobody cares to come out and see. You don't find that to be a fucking problem? Yes, but let's create a new championship that will mask all of our problems. Everything's great in AEW. Shockwave. They are trying to get that IP. They are trying to get that trademark from NWA. Now, in an announcement, AEW referenced the title's origin in the territory era of wrestling, when the belt was prominent in the then NWA members promotions like Georgia Championship Wrestling, when the belt was seen in the 1980s on TBS, and the network Dynamite airs today is TBS. So they think that they're bringing lineage and prestige from the olden days back to current AEW television. Notably, nobody could find any trademark registrations or applications by AEW, the NWA, or any other entity to protect simply National Championship or any variation that may be tied to a championship title belt. This isn't surprising since the phrase may be considered descriptive and has been used across decades by different entities before Corgan's underlying Lightning One Inc. entity took the NWA name. That may make it especially difficult to register and enforce as a trademark if either company wanted to. So the trademark dispute between AEW and the NWA is over Shockwave and the name Shockwave only. NWA wrestler Brian Idol claims in posts online that the introduction of the new title by AEW is in a response to the Shockwave dispute. On September 6, 2024, according to public filings with the U.S. Patent and Trademark Office reviewed by WrestleNomics, which this report is coming from, AEW attempted to register Shockwave under what's called a 1B or intent to use basis, meaning AEW was not yet using the name publicly, but wanted to secure rights to it in advance. Soon after, since filing disclosed the trademark was intended to be used for television programming, wrestling media took notice. Video even emerged of Swerve Strickland talking about the possibility of a new show coming to Fox. Given that was more than a year ago, if any significant talks between AEW and Fox were happening, that seems highly unlikely now, and nobody would want to be in bed with AEW, being that they've only gotten worse and have fallen off of a cliff, even more so than they were only a year ago. But as media and fans took notice of AEW's trademark application, the NWA did as well. A few weeks after AEW's application on September 23rd, 2024, the NWA filed its own application to register NWA Shockwave. Unlike AEW's filing, the NWA filed the application under 1A or use in commerce basis. That means they claimed they were already using the name in business, specifically since December 1st, 2020, when they debuted a series of events that were streamed on YouTube that used that branding. So why did AEW create the National Championship, chat? Tony Khan created the National Championship because he can't get his way like a petulant child that he is. He can't get his way. He can't get what he wants. He can't get the Shockwave name. He can't use it for whatever he wants to use it for, which at this point, I don't know why anybody would be wanting even more AEW television. We got 2 hours of Collision, which is a failure. We got 2 hours of Dynamite. On most weeks now, it's 2.5 hours. 2.5 hours. Wednesday's Dynamite coming up is 2.5 hours. They've had 3-hour blocks because they've been preempted with basketball and the MLB playoffs and the World Series. They usually have an overrun for 10 minutes. This is a plus 2-hour program. You want to add more television time to an already dying and deteriorating product. I don't think that is called productive. Nobody's watching the current AEW television. You're going to expect people to go and watch another AEW program? For what? For who? With what direction? To see who? Hologram? Commander? Everything we see on Saturday night that right now nobody's watching at all? Sub 200,000 on Saturday with a 0.02 18 to 49. You want to introduce more AEW television. I don't know why anybody would want to watch any more AEW television. I barely want to watch the flagship program every Wednesday night. The only reason why I review it is because I need to. If I didn't have my show, I won't even bother with AEW because none of it matters. You genuinely miss nothing on a week-to-week basis. Tony Khan created the National Championship as a way to get back at NWA because he can, because he's got money, and he's petty, and he's a child, and he's going to throw his weight around as a fucking petty, childish billionaire. Look at what I can do. I can't get what I want. You don't want to give me what I want. I'm going to create something that you already have on top of the lineage and the prestige that you already have. I'm going to pretend like none of that exists. I'm going to make my own national championship and take a piece of the NWA and put it on my television. And I'm going to say, fuck everyone. Nobody takes this man to be serious. The roster there don't want to be there. The fucking smoke that they blow up your ass, that morale is great and everything is great. This is the best time in AEW ever. This is the best the company's ever been. Everything's great. Everything is this. Everything is that. It's unbelievable. The best locker room ever. None of that exists. It is a fabrication. It's a figment of their imagination. None of it exists. You as the viewer, you as the social media patron, you hear these things, you see these things. They are actively blowing smoke up your ass, and they are habitual liars. None of you are open to seeing the type of person that Tony Khan is, and Tony Khan right now, as a person, is only getting worse. Nobody thought he was this bad when AEW first started, because why would he be? He was going direct head-to-head with Vince McMahon. Nobody could be worse than Vince McMahon. Tony Khan was looked at as the savior. Tony Khan was looked at as the guy that was going to save professional wrestling, and everybody was on board. Then Cody left. Then he fired Punk, and everything went down the fucking toilet. And all of their audience went to go watch Cody and Punk in WWE. Now Tony is getting just as bad, if not worse, than anybody that works currently for TKO and WWE. His pettiness knows no boundaries. And the man is throwing his weight around and his money around to silence people, to cancel people, to pretend that everything is great. And he goes out there on these social media brigades and these podcasts and these interviews, and he's legitimately lying to everybody in the fake wrestling media, and they take it and they fucking shill it to everybody that will pay for their dirt sheets and their subscriptions and anybody that will listen. Everybody is actively harming AEW in the process, and they don't even know it. And Tony Khan allows it to happen. He welcomes all of that. And at the top of the fucking food chain, he doesn't know how badly he's harming AEW himself to a point where legitimately nobody takes it seriously. And the only reason why people are there is because, A, they're biding their time and getting paid before they can go on to WWE. And maybe they don't want to jump to WWE. Maybe they want to take the lax schedule and the money that comes with it and do nothing and have no career advancement and will settle for mediocrity for working for a fucking complete hack and just take him for every dime that he's willing to shell out. Tony Khan created the NWA National Championship for AEW television, named it the AEW National Championship, as a way to get back at Billy Corgan and the NWA for securing their trademark of Shockwave. What the fuck was he planning on using Shockwave for? Brian Idol, even though I think he's had some choice words for me in the past, I agree with everything Brian Idol is claiming as far as why they created the national championship. It's the first thing that I thought of. As soon as I read this report, I'm like, yep, there's the real reason why Tony Khan created a national championship. Now he's created another championship, made his creative absolutely fucking retarded, and he's now showed everybody how exactly he does business. He showed everybody exactly how petty he is. If you guys need any more of a reason to dislike AEW and to dislike Tony Khan, this spells it out for you more so than anything before it. Thank you guys very much for all your support. If you did enjoy today's video, make sure you go hit that thumbs up, leave me a comment down below, and turn on the bell for all notifications. I will, unfortunately, be live for SmackDown tonight. Not excited about the show. Their ratings are in the fucking toilet. They got their own problems as well. AEW is not the only one problems. SmackDown hit below 1 million viewers on Friday last week, and they need to have a serious turnaround on Friday nights because the way that I see it, it's only getting worse. And there's no hope in sight on Friday night. So I will be live to talk about whatever happens on tonight's show. So join me at 10:30 tonight, live on YouTube for that. And please, make sure you go check out all the great content on the channel. We were live on Monday for Raw, Tuesday Night Titans episode 119 with the Solid Monster, and we were live after Wednesday for Dynamite, where we went into discussion on the National Championship and the Blood and Guts build going into next week's AEW Blood and Guts men's and women's matches. Go check that out on the homepage. Thank you guys very much. Leave me a comment, hit that thumbs up, and I'll see you live tonight for Friday Night SmackDown right here on Off the Script. I'll see you guys later.